A CBS News Chicago investigation leads to answers about how costly and widespread fraud is in the SNAP program. Those federal benefits help low-income families afford food.
The cost now totals nearly $21 million stolen in just Illinois. As investigative reporter Dorothy Tucker shows you, there's a new push underway to prevent the fraud.
Across the country, U.S. Secret Service agents are on the hunt for skimmers. Last October, Chicago area agents made surprise visits to some 200 businesses. The urgency to find them is high because these are devices criminals use to place over card readers at retail stores, ATMs, gas stations.
For a skimmer like this, they will catch the numbers as you punch them in.
Once the hackers get the numbers, they wipe out the accounts, steal the money.
The victims are members of our vulnerable communities.
The vulnerable are those who receive SNAP, funds from the government to buy food for their families. And that's nearly 2 million people in Illinois.
It's hitting these communities hard. I mean, they're depending on those funds for food and basic needs.
We now know how hard those communities are being hit because of a CBS Chicago investigation. 2 years ago, we found a loophole in the state's system. Victims of SNAP fraud were not being tracked.
State Representative Sonia Harper felt the state needed to know the extent of the fraud in order to find solutions. A bill she sponsored to track stolen benefits passed in May of 2023. The tracking revealed the scope of the problem. In a period of just over 2 years, more than 38,000 households reported fraud. That's nearly $21 million stolen by criminals. 57% of that, or $12 million, ripped away from 22,000 families just last year. Many victims who report the crimes choose not to speak on camera, but recent tips to our newsroom detailed their pain. A Southside woman bought a little food at Aldi's and soon after discovered she only had 7 cents left in her card. SNAP documents show on January 31st, there were 6 transactions in New York totaling more than $1,000. She wrote, "It's not right. No fault of mine that this has happened." A Southside man had 3 out-of-state fraudulent transactions within 1 minute in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. His loss was nearly $700. He wrote, "My family and I can't buy groceries this month."
What's worse, in December, the federal government stopped reimbursing victims of SNAP fraud, which means the money is gone for good.
Hayward Telcove is an expert in fraud prevention.
What will happen is the amount of fraud will continue to accelerate until you put those chips in place or until you put the mobile pay tools in place.
The Illinois Department of Human Services plans to launch a pilot program later this year, allowing SNAP recipients to pay with their phones, making it more difficult for hackers to steal the data. In the meantime, the U.S. Secret Service continues to educate merchants on how to detect skimmers, like they did here in Valparaiso last October.
If something looks off or it's loose, you kind of move it or take it off. You know, that's a skimmer.
There are also things the public can do to protect themselves. Change your settings to block out state transactions. Turn off the card immediately after a purchase. And if you don't shop online, block internet transactions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dorothy Tucker, CBS News Chicago Investigators.
That Secret Service operation in the Chicago area last year found 6 skimming devices, all in Cook County.